So I just wanted to sit down and catch up with you and hear how everything's going at Working Mother.
Oh,
And especially being at this amazing conference. As you can see through our booth, we're thrilled to be here.
yes, I love your booth, and I love the idea of getting our attendees to bowl and get a little physical exercise while we're here.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. And
Yeah.
that is what everybody's talking about is, health and wellness.
Yeah.
And being able to take care of ourselves and our families. But Working Mother's doing very, very well. This is our 26th year of the Working Mother 100 Best Companies.
Wow,
So that's a
amazing.
big year. And we're excited to see that even in this terrible economy, there's still so much dedication and so much improvement in what the companies are doing to support working moms and dads. It's so needed.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the areas that we looked at this year that really drove home to us how companies are so people-oriented, these companies, was when we looked at the programs and policies that they're putting in place to help their employees in this recession. And it includes everything from tuition reimbursement and tuition loans to mortgage help, even some mortgage forgiveness. I mean, there's just some amazing, safety nets that companies are building specifically for what their employees need in this kind of time. And that's so important.
We have several of our, actually over 21 of our clients are on the Working Mother list.
Yay!
So really proud of the things that they're doing and certainly supporting their workforce, their working moms and dads. And we get to see it live in action, whether it's on our on-site centers with them or through our dependent care services, backup care. They understand the importance of the investment that they're making in independent care and family care, but also they want to be on that list. I know, and I have clients that ask me, can you ask Carol, really, what is that magic piece of not only investment that we should be making in our workforce to get on that list, especially universities, which I know is such an important thing, is they have more of their workforce aging up and aging out to the faculty that they're trying to recruit. How can you be the best employer and be most competitive in that space?
It's interesting because universities, people assume that they're just, great places to work, but it's actually very hard for universities to keep up with the advances that corporate America has made in supporting working families. And so sometimes it's very hard for them to get on the list. But what every company needs to focus on is what's right for their employee base. And a lot of it depends on many factors that come into play, such as whether they have a huge headquarters or whether they're very disparate throughout the country, whether they have a large virtual group of employees. So a lot of it has to be tailored to what that company's needs are. And I'm sure you find that in the work that you do, that a lot of what you're doing is customizing everything for each client to whatever degree they need.
Absolutely.
And that's because their employees have very different needs from each other. But generally speaking, childcare is still very high on the list because no matter what, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah.
And so the primary concern of every parent, mother and father, is to make sure that their kids are well cared for while they're at work. And being well cared for is no longer just about a safe place to be and a nice community of kids and teachers. It's also about learning, and it's also about really socializing them properly so that by the time they get to kindergarten, they're ready. Because today it's just very, very competitive to have kids really being kindergarten ready.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that parents really appreciate about about the child care centers that you run and that your competitors run. It's so well done.
Yeah.
It's a peace of mind for
It
them.
is. Well, I know, walking into any of our centers and seeing parents that are there, moms that are able to go and breastfeed or dads that are able to go and have lunch, that is such a powerful piece about building the culture within that culture. And you talk about customization, that's something that we focus very heavily on. It's making sure when you walk in, it really feels part of that workplace, not just CCLC, but really part of that organization.
Yes, and the parents want that too. They want to feel like it's their child care center. And I think that some of the innovations that have happened in the last 5 and 10 years of parents being able to, see their kids on their computer screen and really be in touch with them and get a different type of reporting rather than just a teacher saying at the end of the day, yeah, she was fine. You know, there's all kinds of information now that
Yeah.
parents can get from the child care centers. That is such peace of mind.
Yeah, it really is.
And having them close, just physically close. I didn't
Yeah.
have that when my child was young. You know, I would have really appreciated
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
aspect. But to your question about what companies can do, I mean, childcare is certainly a big part of what we look for and have looked for the last 26 years. But also there's other things that really need to be paid attention to. One is flexibility.
Okay.
And you know, having a flexible work arrangement, having a culture of flex is so key, because when we ask parents what they want that is most helpful to them, they all say a flexible work environment.
Yeah.
You know, and they could be flexing their day, their week, their year, their whole career. Whatever it is, they want to be able to have as much choice as possible in, you know, their hours and their level of commitment and all of that.
Yeah.
So that's, I'm sure that childcare helps
Yeah.
you to be flexible
Yeah.
in many, many ways.
Yeah. Well, and that's again supporting the workforce and the family care needs.
Yes.
So tell me, how do you think things are going to look for 2012, working mother?
I think it's going to be another very competitive year for companies applying to the list. You know, every time companies, they get surprised if they fall off the list. But we don't get surprised because there are so many companies trying to get on this list
Yeah.
for the first time. And so if companies aren't keeping up, they can easily fall off the list. But I also predict a year where we're going to see still that commitment,
Yeah.
even through whatever this economy is still happening.
Yeah.
There's still so much difficulty. But it just feels to me like the commitment from the best companies and those that are trying to be a part of this elite group
Yeah.
is solid and strong, no matter the economy.
Yeah. So I have the Working Mother application and use it on my iPad. And I had a discussion with one of my clients where they have, you know, they're able to use iPads at the work. What other things are you looking at implementing in terms of technology through the magazine?
Oh, well, we have so much going on technology-wise. It's an exciting time for us. You know, I sold the company to Bonnier Corporation 3 years ago, and in that 3 years, it took a couple of years for us to really get to be a part of their culture, but they have a huge technological advantage for us that they give to us. So we relaunched workingmother.com in April of this year. It took a while because we had our own platform that we had built the website on, but now it's on what's called the Drupal platform, very powerful platform.
Yeah.
We can do anything on that website, including collect lots of data and information from our readers and the population as a whole. We also have our own apps. So now Working Mother is available digitally on iPad, on Nook, on Zinio. So what we're looking for is to have our readers be able to access us the way they want to.
Yeah.
Do they want us by the mail? Do they want us on Nook? Do they want us on iPad? How do they want to receive us? That's where we want to be. And of course, we've been able to deepen the scope of our newsletters and our ability just in general to connect. But to me, the most exciting thing is the social media.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure you find this as well, because young moms, they are there, they know, they really know how to use social media, and they think that way because they're part of that generation. So what we're doing is we're doing a lot of work on Twitter, LinkedIn, you know, Facebook. We have a fabulous Facebook page. We have Twitter parties, and this is something so interesting. Our Twitter parties are held at 9:30 at night. And you know, for all of our working mother life, 3 decades of working mother, we always thought of our readers as being, you know, 9 to 5 or roughly, and then they had their home life. Well, now what's happening is they put their young kids to bed and they go right back on that computer at 9:30. Not really so much to do work. I mean, sometimes it's to do work, but a lot of it is to find other moms.
Yeah.
So what we do is we hold a Twitter party where we allow them and get them to Twitter through a chat format, and they Twitter for hours.
Yeah.
You know, we start them off and then they just keep going. And it's so much fun, it's so interesting because they're connecting with mothers virtually.
Yeah.
We no longer have to feel like, oh, I can't be at the park, I can't be at the, you know, the fence, I can't even be at the water cooler because I'm virtual. You know, no, now we can feel like I can be on that Twitter party, I can be on LinkedIn, I can be on Facebook. So to me, that's the world ahead of us, and that's what we're very, you know, rapidly and in a very creative way approaching.
trends with elder care. We're seeing more and more of our clients talk about elder care, needing elder care. They have not only the demand for providing and finding a solution for their infant through 5-year-old children that are part of families within that company, but also the elder care piece.
Yes.
An example, we have a client, and this was actually a client that has a young child, but also a parent that lives in Florida. And parent in Florida got sick. They couldn't get to, because their child was sick, they couldn't get to Florida. So by utilizing in-home care solutions through elder care, they were able to get some support for their mom until they were able to get out there.
Wow.
So are you hearing more about elder care in your space dialogue with any, especially that your 100 list? That's part of it. Is that something that companies should continue to look at, invest in, especially if they want to have that, leg up as they're filling out that application?
Yes, I mean, companies are paying a lot of attention to elder care, and I think they will continue to, and it's a big part of the application. The reason is really clear. The women who are impacted by elder care issues are the top talent in the company.
Yeah.
Because it hits you right about the time when you turn 50. And a 50-year-old woman is at the prime of her career, the prime of her engagement with her company. Companies are very dependent on that cohort of women. And then all of a sudden, the stuff with the kids is all settled in, they're in college and all that, and then all of a sudden they get these terrible, realities of life, like elder care. The thing that's devastating about elder care is that the end point is, the death of a parent.
Yeah.
And, whereas for a child, you're really launching them from total need to launch. So the care issues become more and more critical as time goes on, rather than less and less.
Yeah.
And so what we have found is that companies often tell us that they lose more women in general to elder care issues than they do to child care issues once a woman has made the decision to come back to work after having a baby. And that's because, when it becomes critical with your parents, they're often, like you said, they're in Florida, they're in Illinois. My parents were 800 miles away from me when they started experiencing poor health. And I still find this amazing, that it's still the woman. The woman is the person who's caring not only for her parents, but for her in-laws. And oftentimes for, her extended family, aunts and uncles. And as they grow old, and as there's no one else to take care of that one that never got married, and so on, And so, so for some reason, all of this falls on the shoulders of the daughter and the daughter-in-law, and this is why this is such a big issue. So companies are doing a lot, and the way that your company and other companies like yours are being inventive about this topic is what's so important, because companies can't do it without resources like CCLC to make these services available. We can't invent this all, each company by itself. So
now we're finding that the more flexible we can be, and especially as we listen to really what the core issues are, the better the service and the partnership that we're able to develop. So, but I know that tomorrow I have the pleasure of being on a panel as moderator. Really excited for that, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about, is both child and elder care. And really, what is Abbott doing? What is Intel, who's been a client of ours since 2002? They continue to really think outside the box, and they may not even have the funds to do it. So how can they do something that is cost burdensome?
Yes, well, low-cost solutions is a really important thing for people like you to come up with, so that they can implement these. Because now companies want to implement these types of ideas, not just in the U.S., but all across the globe.
Absolutely.
They want an equality of services for every country that they're in. And that makes sense to us. And I think that's part of how we're pushing, global work life, is by having companies have resources like what you provide that they can deploy on a global basis.
And we were talking before we started our discussion about what we're doing in Bangalore, India with Cisco, and to see the connection between our amazing 42,000 square foot childcare center in San Jose, and how we've connected that through technology in Bangalore, India, and really being able to, it is a culture within a culture. So what we're doing in India is still very different than what we're doing in the San Francisco Bay Area. However, the synergy is that the quality of education that you're talking about, those parents want their children to be successful in elementary school. They're going to send them off to a school where they need to be prepared. And now they have a work-life solution that's supporting the whole family. versus just, whether it's the grandparent that's coming in or they have another solution. This is something that's reliable and they feel really good about.
Yes, and I think that's so important because, moms are moms everywhere around the world. Their circumstances are different, their cultures are different, their socioeconomic status is different, but they all want a really, really powerful start for their children in life.
Absolutely. As I did too. When I started CCLC and having 3 girls and watching them go through, daily my centers, I see how socially aware they are and confident. I think CCLC did too good of a job.
Good.
Because they're confident learners. And so now I have the issue of dealing with 3 almost teenagers.
Oh my goodness.
So and as a working mom, here I am in New York, away from them. I'll be going to England to do some more client work and go back 8 days later. And that's always difficult to be gone that long.
Oh, it is.
And finding that balance.
It's very hard, and for you to have the confidence to do that is really important. And that is the make it or break it in so many ways for executive working mothers. We have to be able to make those choices and do that. At the same time, we have to be able to say no to some of those trips, and so it has to be a balance between saying yes, we want that assignment, we want that that trip, and to being able to be true to ourselves when it's not right for us. So I think it's critical on both sides, and moms are really aware of that. What they really want companies to be able to do is to let them guide their career, so they can make those those choices without too much fear when it's right for them, and so that they can not have to abandon their career when it's not right for them. So.
Incredibly thrilled to be here. Your team and everybody at Working Mother has been very welcoming. And looking at this booth and things that we're doing, this is an example of how we customize for our clients. And we wanted to customize for Working Mother.
I love that.
We wanted you to walk in here and be really proud of us as a sponsor and partner of Working Mother. And
I was not just proud, I was wowed.
Good. And that was really the impact we wanted. We wanted to be wowed. We wanted people that didn't know who CCLC was to come and ask us, what is this? What do you do?
Yes.
And
and what's my score?
And what's your score, as you can see. But it's interesting. 4 years ago, CCLC came to Working Mother for the first time as a sponsor and an attendee, and people really didn't know who CCLC was on the East Coast. Now they do.
Now they do.
And now we have clients in New Jersey and in DC and all over the country here. Globally as well. And it's so exciting to be welcomed the way we have been. And
well, it's fun for us too because we have our favorite clients in California too, where you have such a stronghold. And for us, we're going out west to meet with them and to support them. And we've had events in Los Angeles and San Jose this year, and it's been really terrific for us too to make that cross-country journey.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
Fran. So good catching up.
Yes. Well, as always, wonderful to see you and the work that you're doing with CCLC.
Thank you. And I know you're going to have fun the next couple days and be exhausted by Friday.
Yes. And then I'm going down to Washington for my March of Dimes.
I know. You'll go this way. I'm going that way.
We'll go that way. Yeah, we'll have fun.
Well, thank you again.
My pleasure. Great to see you too, Fran.
Okay.
All right. Good.